exactly what to do. He's been here before. All right, for those who don't know, when I go wild, pretty self-explanatory. So let's try this again. My show, if I don't like it, I'll do it again. All right, so please, go absolutely wild!
It's a little bit too much energy in the room there. We calm things down a bit. Subiaco, eh? A lot of homeless people there. Subiaco. Saw this homeless guy, Subiaco. I live in Subiaco. Got a chat to him. Spent an hour with him. After an hour with him, he said, "Oh, can I come in?" I said, "Yeah, sure." I let him in. I said, "Take a seat there." He sat down on my sofa. I went into the kitchen, took a key out of the drawer, gave it to him. I said, "Use that in future." He said, "Thanks, Dad." Looked at this guy, said, "How are you?" I said, "I can't complain." Turns out he could. Well-being is very important these days. A lot about well-being. I don't know. I was got chatting to this one guy, 5'2". He was 5'2". He said he was depressed. I said, "Well, why don't you get some help?" He said, "You can't get help. I've looked." I said, "What do you mean you can't get help? There's loads of help." He said, "Yeah, but you're 6'1". Mental health plans. Mental health plans. My gosh. I'm willing to wait. I'm waiting for the intelligence to get through eventually. And when it doesn't, I'll keep going. And I'll deconstruct it on stage. I love a good deconstruction, me. I wasn't meant to be here actually. I was meant to be catching a flight somewhere tonight. Stuff it. I'm sure my wife will be angry at the thought of me not getting that flight, particularly when she looks to the left and sees me not on the plane with her. How are you, sir? I don't care. It's rude to interrupt people, isn't it? We don't like being interrupted. People come and interrupt us all the time. Have you noticed that? They come up to you, they stand beside you, like what they've got to say is really important, and then they'll just interrupt you as if you're not there, because what they've got to say far more important than what you've got to say. You know, I had that, and then when they say what they've got to say, have you noticed it's not that important? Ever had that experience? But yet when Google interrupts us, we don't seem to have a problem with it, do we? Have you noticed that? So you can type things into Google. I did this. I thought, okay, Google, let's put this to the test. So I said to Google, how do I? And Google immediately interrupted me and said, win a staring contest with my cat. How do I make pancakes that don't reflect abstract art? How do I convince people the statistical chance of surviving a cardiac arrest is very low? Well, no, Google, stop interrupting. That's not what I want to know the answer to. So I carried on. I said, how do I get? And Google interrupted me again. I couldn't believe it. I thought, Google, shut up. It said, how do I get it? I didn't understand that one. How do I get my wife to stop judging me? I thought, I don't know what this algorithm is. How do I get over the fact that I'm bald? I thought, no, Google, stop interrupting. You're very rude. So I carried on. I said, how do I get rid of, and Google interrupted me again, it couldn't cope with this. It said, how do I get rid of the guilt of eating someone else's lunch in the lunchroom? A double chin without surgery. Male pattern baldness. I thought, no, Google, what I want to know is, how do I get rid of my kids? Google had 8 pieces of advice, I couldn't believe it. One of them was, if in doubt, let it out. So there I was, I shouted out, I can't stand this! Got asked to leave the library. I said, set limitations. I did that when I had kids. I said, set boundaries. I thought, well, they've already climbed over them. I thought, Google, you've got it wrong. If I wanted that advice, I could have sought that myself. So I came up with my own, and it works. I say to my kids, the Wi-Fi's not working. They're out that door. Tonight, we're having broccoli. Gone. I'm just setting up a cleaning roster, and the winner gets another duty. Never see sight nor sound of them. They're gone. That's how you get rid of your kids, isn't it? Speaking of reincarnation, do any of you believe in that? Well, I don't. Because 3 years ago I had a cardiac arrest, which effectively means I died, and I came back as me. There's no way I'd do that. I'd come back as Mark from Subiaco. Or, no, not you, sir. I wouldn't come back as, or a mutated fly or a mutated spider, but there's no way. And then when I survived that cardiac arrest, which is statistically unlikely, only 10% survived that, and of that 10%, only 50% come out of an induced coma, and of that 50%, only 80% go back to work. I am what mathematicians would call an outlaw, just like Ned Kelly, just on that bell curve, that kind of outlaw. But I survived, and people would come up to me and they'd go, I'm glad you didn't die. And I think, you're glad? Imagine how I feel. How inconvenient it would be for my family. Who else would they get to put out the bins? And if I had died, they wouldn't refer to it as dead, would they? Oh no, that's a bit too harsh, that language. You'd soften that language like that with like putting a cushion in front of a shotgun. Softens the shotgun, doesn't it? It still hurts, but it's less noisy. They go, oh, he's late ants. And yet, as you can see tonight, there's no hidden talent on show, or any talent at all. It's like, you're not late, are you? I was not late. I'm not late for supper. I'm not late for my funeral. If anything, you're early. And oh, he went too early. You think, well, what is it? Early or late? Which one is it? Please tell me. And you get up to heaven, and there's some angelic being there who's looking at his watch, you know, obviously mythically, metaphorically, because he's not going to really need a watch. He's outside of time. He's going to go, oh, look, here's early ant. Here's early ant. He's arrived far too early for this, hasn't he? We're going to send him back. He's 10 years too early. Which I'm pleased about. Right? Because dead ant, if they said dead ant, it would be dead ant, dead ant, dead ant. And before you know where you are, it's a 1970s song in a Pink Panther film. But if they had a funeral for me, how horrible is that? Imagine that. And I would have preferred dead pan ant, obviously. But if you go to a funeral, right, you're at this funeral, alright, what do they call it? They call it a wake. How rude is that? How sick is that? I'm positively not awake. If anything, I'm permanently asleep. And then they start talking about, he was a lovely fellow. Before you know where you are, they've gone from a eulogy into a bad open mic set where they start making commentary on you and do some soft roasting. Oh, that ant fellow, oh, you know, do you remember the time when he reversed into a lamppost and blamed Google Maps? Do you remember that time he kept getting irritated by Google interrupting him? And while I'm up here on stage, the next comedian is waiting and they're looking at their watch and they're getting irritated right now. They're thinking, oh, you know, come on, Anne, you've gone over your time. You've gone over your time. I'm looking at my watch. You've gone over your time. You should have finished a while ago, but you're still going. And then and they'll be standing there, wouldn't they? They'll be standing there and they're thinking, come on, Anne, you're making me angry is what you're making me. Angry. Thanks very much. I've been Anne Mexes.